I wanted to thank you again, Mr. Jenkins, for taking this time to meet with me. Firstly, I want to explain what our focus is in this project and what we expect to accomplish. So for our Romero project, we're looking at inclusion in education and how schools can better support students with learning differences or mental health challenges. Since you teach college readiness and have a background in psychology, we really want to hear your perspective.
Okay.
Can you talk a little about your role as a senior college readiness teacher and what your work looks like day to day?
My day-to-day role is assisting all 123 seniors with their college application process, as well as selecting their colleges, scholarships and grants, just the whole process, information behind each school, and making the best fit for their major and their minors.
How can you determine the best fit for them?
Just different factors that's personal to them, whether it's size or the amount of money each school costs or location. It just depends on the student. So that's what the class is for. So we do the research to match everybody to their best fit.
Okay. How does your background in psychology influence the way you work with students or understand what they're going through?
I just have a different perspective on how to reach them. They're all different, so you have to kind of take the time to get to know each student, see what their strengths and weaknesses are, and kind of focus in on that.
From your experience, why do students learn or process things differently?
Just based on how they are, their learning styles will be obviously different. You have visual learners, some people are more hands-on, some people are more technology-based, so it's just figuring out which one appeals to them for this particular subject, and then we focus on that because that is a strength, and we use that to just harness their attention for the most time possible.
How do things like stress, anxiety, or pressure, especially around college, affect students' performance or confidence?
That's what the research is for. So the more research you do on the actual subject in the school, the more confidence you have in it. A lot of it is overthinking and other people's expectation for college. So a lot of your parents have an outdated version of college, and it seems scary, but the more you do your research and go visit, you will start to feel like you belong, and you kind of realize that it's just school at the end of the day. It's just past 18.
And how do students do the research to effectively?
Well, we base it on where they would like to go to college at, what they want to major in, if they have any favorite colleges, whether it's a school that's in the family. Some people are legacy admissions students. Some people want to go to the top biology school in the country. It just depends on what their major or minor is and what they want to do. So it's just based on them as an individual, how we pick it.
Okay. Do you ever see students being misunderstood because of that? And what do you think schools sometimes get wrong?
They can be misunderstood because some schools are very heavy on SAT or their transcripts. So sometimes what the student does in high school is not indicative of the college student that they'll be. Most students that struggle in high school are very excellent college students, is because it's more independent thinking, your own schedule, you have more freedom. Every student isn't meant to thrive under a lot of rules and regulations, so college gives you a chance to be free, get to live your life, and do school at the same time. So it's it could be a plus for some students, but for others that are more introverted, structure can't work for them.
What do you think that does to students and their sense of esteem or motivation?
Depends on their, I would say, their ecosystem or who they're surrounded with. If nobody's really encouraging you, telling you you can do it, or giving you options when things go wrong, your self-esteem, your confidence can get low. So, sadly, every teacher doesn't like students in a sense, to where they're not really positive when things go wrong. They kind of let them crash out when they're given the options, and that can be the one thing where a student will never return to school. So you never want them to do that. If you really care about the student, you'll give them as much praise and positive energy as possible.
Okay, that's excellent. When it comes to preparing for college, what challenges do neurodivergent students or students with mental health struggles tend to face?
Just high anxiety levels. The classes are kind of triple in size if you're in college. So going from a class of 20 to probably a class of 100. It's a lot larger campuses, a lot more students walking around. You don't know a lot of people, so anxiety will get through the roof. You'll kind of be more introverted than you already are until you kind of get to something that's in your wheelhouse as far as your likes and dislikes or hobbies. You find someone that likes anime or sports or things like that, and you start to make friends that way. So it just depends on the student. Their environment is really big. So just being away from mom and dad, that's a stressor. But after a month or two, it'll go away.
Yeah. Okay. What kind of supports or skills do you think actually help students feel prepared, not just academically, but mentally and emotionally too?
The ability to network, making new friends, just speaking, smiling, not frowning up all the time with people. When you see them, just a simple greeting can actually start off a friendship, especially in college. Sometimes they're just as scared of you or as they are of you. So just speaking up kind of help you break the ice.
Okay. And how do you feel it's easy for students to network and actually build those relationships?
Classes are always good icebreakers. The study groups always help. It'll be people that you probably would have never spoken to if you weren't forced to be in a group. You start to work together, start to speak a little bit, and you start to say hi and all that from there. Somebody that can help you if you miss class and they have the notes and you don't. All those things can help you kind of build some relationship that you wouldn't have just in college.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Why do you think supporting different kinds of learners is really justice or a dignity issue, not just an academic one?
Because one style doesn't fit all students, so it does show that you really care about doing the homework on our side as professors and teachers to reach the actual student. You don't want to leave anybody behind. A lot of the older teachers have that one way or no way logic, right? So I want to make sure that every student actually receives the information and they retain it to where if you're away from me 2 years from now, you'll remember because I kind of tailored it just for you. And that's important if you really want them to hold the information.
Okay. If you could give one piece of advice to students or schools about supporting mental health and neurodiversity, what would it be?
More patient with the students. I know we have rules and regulations, but each student is different. They're coming from different backgrounds, different family structures. So taking the time to read them and work with them. It is their first time, so and then as adults we have to remember that we were once that age, so we kind of got to go back in time and give the students what we would have wanted to have when we were that age. And I think just doing that will make every student feel welcome and make them feel confident they can finish.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank you again for taking this interview and your time to be here and say these things. It really has helped us understand better.
I'm glad.
Thank you.
Thank you.